Ever wondered when the best time to make a sacrifice in a game of chess is? Well, the decision to sacrifice in chess is more art than science, dependent on the specific positional and tactical evaluation of a game. It's not a one-size-fits-all strategy. It's like a dance, requiring an understanding of rhythm, timing, and the dynamics of the game. When your opponent's defense seems shaky or there's a weakness you can exploit, it might be a good time to consider a sacrifice. This could create threats that are challenging for your opponent to address. If the king's defense appears weak or exposed, this could be an opportunity for a sacrifice aimed at leveraging that weakness and initiating an attack. Remember, there's no absolute rule about when to sacrifice. It's all about analyzing the situation at hand. So, when is it a good time to consider a sacrifice in chess? This is a question that has crossed the mind of every chess player at some point. The answer, however, is not straightforward, as it largely depends on the specific circumstances of the game. One situation where a sacrifice can be an effective strategy is when your opponent's defense appears unstable. This instability might present itself as a weakness that can be exploited, and a well-timed sacrifice can create threats that are tricky for your adversary to counter. Similarly, if your opponent's king's defense is weak or exposed, this could be an excellent opportunity to consider a sacrifice. The objective here is to take advantage of this vulnerability and initiate an attack. An open board situation can also present an opportune moment for a sacrifice. In such a position, sacrificing a pawn or a piece can create threats and give you the initiative. An open board allows for attacks to be directed more easily. Tactical or positional compensation is another factor to consider. If a sacrifice can provide a significant tactical advantage or positional gain, such as control over a file, rank, or the center of the board, then it may well be worth the trade. The presence of a checkmate threat or a powerful attack is another scenario in which a sacrifice can be effective. In these instances, a sacrifice can force your opponent's defense and open lines for a devastating attack. Lastly, if your opponent is under pressure or has time difficulties, a sacrifice can create a complex situation that is hard to calculate and can force your opponent to make difficult decisions in limited time. But remember, these are just possible scenarios. The effectiveness of a sacrifice always depends on the specific circumstances of the game. It's not about making sacrifices for the sake of it, but about recognizing the right time to do so, based on a deep understanding of the position, tactical evaluation, and overall strategy. Let's delve deeper into some specific situations where a sacrifice could give you an edge. Imagine your forces having more power on the opponent's side. This might be a good time to consider a sacrifice, as it could further expose holes or weaknesses in your opponent's defense, or consider a scenario where your opponent's pawn structure is weak or can be broken by a particular pawn sacrifice. This could be an opportune moment for a sacrifice that could yield positional or tactical advantages. Perhaps the opponent's king's defense is open or disrupted. A sacrifice in this area could create a potent attacking threat, opening up opportunities to exploit the weakened state around the opponent's king. In positions where the board is open or semi-open, sacrifices can be even more effective, as attacks can be more easily directed, and the benefits of the sacrifice can become more apparent. And if your opponent seems to struggle with formulating a defense or predicting your attack, a sacrifice can add an extra layer of complexity, making it harder for them to respond accurately. These are just a few examples. It's crucial to remember that each game of chess is unique, and the decision to sacrifice should always be made based on a deep understanding of the position, tactical evaluation, and overall strategy. So we've explored various situations where a sacrifice can be a powerful strategy in chess. We've seen how instability in an opponent's defense, a weak king's defense, an open board, tactical or positional compensation, and imminent checkmate situations can all present ripe opportunities for a well-timed sacrifice. We've also delved into how understanding your strength on one side of the board, exploiting weaknesses in your opponent's pawn structure, capitalizing on an exposed king's defense, and using sacrifice in open or semi-open board situations can all give you an edge. And let's not forget how a sacrifice can add a level of complexity that can fluster an opponent struggling to plan their defense or predict your attack. Remember, the decision to sacrifice is a strategic one, not to be taken lightly. It's about understanding the game and seizing the right moment to strike. Until next time, keep strategizing and happy gaming.